Then it morphs into a criminal investigation. We learn from this story that that criminal investigation was actually of Donald Trump or involved Donald Trump, not of the FBI. And when everything else kind of fizzles out, it morphs again into an investigation of, how Hillary set up Trump, which results in multiple failed prosecutions. And so it's a very interesting attempt to tell the whole story of the Durham investigation before we get to the end. I will say there is one aspect of this that I think bears attention, which is, unlike a regular prosecutor, Durham actually has to explain himself. We think of the final report as something where he gets to, talk about everybody's misconduct, but he's going to have to answer some of these questions in the final report. He's obliged to say what he investigated. He's obliged to basically lay out the Pross memos before Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland gets to decide whether to make those public. And so I actually think, if indeed this reporting is accurate, and I have no reason to doubt that it is, Durham has some very difficult explaining to do, how he lost 2 de-order motions before Judge Howell, why he brought 2 cases to trial that he couldn't win. That's pretty unusual for a federal prosecutor. How he ended up flying to Italy with Bill Barr, with whom he seemed to have been regularly dining and having scotch, to get the Italians to dish dirt on the CIA. I mean, it's a very weird pattern of behavior, and I think he's going to have to answer for it.
Well, Barb, he's worked for Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco for over 2 years. Now, the traveling with Bill Barr happened, obviously, while Donald Trump was president and Bill Barr was the AG, but the 2 failed trials happened while his boss was Merrick Garland. How much in the special counsel regs in terms of briefing DOJ, I mean, how much of this story do you think is news to the Attorney General, and how much of this would he have been aware of?
I think that the Attorney General most certainly has to sign off on significant investigative steps. So these trials that took place during this administration, certainly Merrick Garland could have put a stop to that. But I think, in light of his professed mission to restore public confidence in the independence of the Justice Department, I'm sure he would have been very reluctant to put a stop to those if John Durham wanted to go forward. If there was any plausible reason to suggest that there was some merit, a grand jury had returned indictments to find probable cause, and so he let them play out and let them be decided by juries. But I would like to think that Merrick Garland knows about this new reporting, that there was information that opened a criminal investigation about financial impropriety by Donald Trump from the Italians. That is a blockbuster piece of news from this new reporting. If, for some reason, Merrick Garland doesn't know about that until now, I would hope that that would cause them to re-examine that information and find out whether that was properly investigated or whether there was something more that needs to be done there, or whether this was just covered up and handled appropriately. I also think something that's super interesting about this new reporting is the matter that prompted the resignation of Nora Donahue. As you said, Nicole, she was a career prosecutor, longtime, prosecutorial professional partner with John Durham. And so when she resigned, that was really noteworthy, I think, for many of us. And the fact that she resigned over what appeared to be happening, the issuance of an interim report, on the eve of the 2020 election, so profoundly wrong in light of DOJ policy. And so I would think that Merrick Garland and Lisa Monaco are going to enforce DOJ policies, and whatever's in this report, ensure that there's nothing in it that will dirty up people in a way that is not appropriate.
Mary, I have some sense from my own reporting of the frequency and depth of knowledge that Rod Rosenstein and his deputy Ed O'Callaghan had for the duration of the Mueller probe. It's a lot. It's not everything, but it's a lot. Do you think Merrick Garland greenlit the 2 loser trials and knew about the open criminal investigation into Trump in 2019?
So it's unclear, how frequently Durham was reporting up to Attorney General Merrick Garland. This special counsel appointment was different than most. This was not pursuant to the normal regulations, which require the special counsel, for one thing, to be from outside the department. And John Durham was, a currently sitting prosecutor, U.S. attorney at the time of his appointment. But it also requires special counsels to send up what are called urgent reports, advising the attorney general of significant steps in any investigation, in any sensitive investigation. And certainly charging decisions are significant, search warrants are significant or can be significant, and obviously going to trial. Something as significant as learning about potential financial improprieties related to President Trump would be something that would need to be flagged under those special counsel regulations, which require following urgent reports. But I don't know that I fully understand what the relationship was, given that this wasn't subject to the normal special counsel regulations. And it's entirely possible that when Merrick Garland came in, he wanted to stay a little bit more arm's length from this investigation, really to avoid the appearance of, directing it politically. All of that said, it is hard to imagine. I mean, I agree with Barbara on this. I certainly hope that Merrick Garland is aware of some of these things that we've learned about, including and in particular the new information from the Italian source about potential financial improprieties. In terms of those trials, there's no question he knew about them. I think I agree with Barbara that he probably felt that even though under special counsel regulations, he could have overruled them if he found they were so inappropriate or unwarranted. But again, once a grand jury, as Barbara said, has returned an indictment based on probable cause, that would be a lot for Merrick Garland to do. And I wouldn't necessarily expect him to dive in separately to all the facts and make his own assessment, because that's the whole point of having a special counsel. So greenlit might be a little bit strong, but he did not stop it.